I dare you and I challenge you and I encourage you to reflect on this statement. You're not going to like it initially. But what if your intimate relationship today, everything you hate about it, everything you blame him or her for, what if every bit of it is the flawless, perfect mirror of exactly what you believe that you deserve? All right, so eyes closed, everybody, and I want you to go into this for just a moment, and I want you to imagine being absolutely confident beyond the shadow of a doubt that you are everything that your perfect partner could ever possibly desire. And any area where you're not in this moment flawlessly embodying it, you're so close in all the other realms that your perfect partner considers it a joy and a pleasure navigating through all the fine tuning and all the feelings that are between the two of you to move into just absolute, utter, complete bliss and be bliss for each other without either one giving to get, trying to hold on to the other. I want you to imagine that you are absolutely, utterly, totally, and completely confident. You're being your truest, fullest, authentic self in every moment. You're speaking every desire you have and feeling 100% confident and safe hearing every one of their desires. You're completely seen and accepted and cherished, even what you thought were flaws, because your partner doesn't see those as flaws. They see them like you do, as an opportunity for more love. And as you find yourself starting to trust day by day that the relationship can really be this amazing, that someone could be seeking to understand you without anyone having to compromise or lose anything, and you feel so safe, you find yourself opening to be even more curious about your partner, and you're no longer thinking you need to protect yourself or hide anything or disguise anything or tone it down, or maybe if I told them this they'd feel threatened and they would leave. Or imagine expressing every need and every desire entirely, and you don't even think that you need to get them fulfilled. You're so confident and so safe. You can openly discuss yours and your partners. And I'll say this right now to you: if you don't have that in your life, why not? Why not? We're going to talk about why not and how you can change that. Now imagine you're in that relationship and you're going from bleeding to bliss, more and more every moment, more and more bliss. And you recognize that that love you're sharing with your partner is actually now rippling out, that ripple effect, into the entire world. It's actually touching everybody. The number of people who share a few minutes around me and Valentina, including, just be very transparent here, including a previous partner of mine, who, and many others around us who say, I can't even believe what it's like being around you guys. I never would have dreamed that something like this is possible. And neither of us are giving up anything in order to have it. Compromise is not a part of this. And we're going to, I know that's going to sound weird to some of you. We're going to talk about why. Okay, so open your eyes, if you had your eyes closed, and notice what you're feeling. And I can't tell you this without telling you, my story. My parents were absolutely miserable. They were not authentic with each other at all. And they really suffered. And what I learned about what it is to be a man, God, I didn't want to be that. And then watching teen boys around me, the way they treated women, the way they manipulated women, the way they pushed themselves onto women, I knew I didn't want to be that. And I ended up becoming the world's #1 nice guy. That guy that would probably be great to marry because he's a super nice guy, but he'll bore the shit out of you after about 5 minutes. I was Mr. freaking nice guy. and always trying to please, always trying to kiss ass, always trying to be the martyr, to, look out. I thought I was the white knight on the white horse when I was actually just completely deluded. And I never was authentic. I never could be authentic. And if you would really be curious for a moment about how authentic you've ever really been, including those of you that have been married for 30, 40, 50 years, have you ever had a moment of 100% authenticity? Would you go to your partner, look them in the eye and say, listen, you know what I'd really like most? You know what I'd really enjoy most? How would you feel about blank? The vast majority of us are terrified to even think about our desires, let alone speak them. So everybody ends up cheating. So ironic, going and trying to get our needs met somewhere else. And I was so needy and so clingy and so desperate, and none of those were true. I just didn't feel safe. So whatever you've been accused of, being a people pleaser, you've been called a narcissist, you've been called needy, you've been called clingy, you've been called too emotional, that's you not being authentic and being around people and settling for people who aren't authentic because you know you don't deserve better. And this is where I want to introduce really one of the keys. I dare you and I challenge you and I encourage you to reflect on this statement. You're not going to like it initially. But what if your intimate relationship today, everything you hate about it, everything you blame him or her for, what if every bit of it is the flawless, perfect mirror of exactly what you believe that you deserve? Well, Brian, there's no, who's keeping them around? Who is cutting parts off of yourself to keep these fuckers around? Who's denying their desires and not speaking their truth in order to keep that man around? Is it possible that the partner in your life right now and your previous partners were the perfect mirror of what you believe you deserve and can have? I promise you, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that's the truth. And I will say that if you're ready for this information, like if you're not willing to accept that possibility of what I just said, is it possible that the partner around you or your most recent partner was quite literally perfectly mirroring down to the letter everything that you believe you deserve? If you don't consider that a real possibility, your best bet would be to click the little red button and exit, because I'm going to be hammering on that point and you're going to see it. Those of you that are open, you're going to see it in a whole different way as we go through this. So just very quickly, if you'd open the chat, are you willing to consider and then look with me at what life would be like if the man in front of you is perfectly mirroring? If that's a yes, you're typing in a yes and you're saying like, this is your choice, this is your decision, this is your commitment, this is your willingness to be curious on an entirely new level, because I'm going to take you places, I promise. Nothing you've ever looked at on relationships has gone here. And that's why people go through relationship course after relationship course. And I'm going to be going there. Okay, willing to be curious. Okay, that's enough. Thank you. And close that chat. Great to see you on, Jade. Okay. Let's look in for a moment at the pain of relationships. The pain of relationships. Why? I heard Tony Robbins say quite a while, many years ago, probably like 12, 13, 14 years ago. I heard him say that there's no area of life that could create more joy and bliss and ecstasy and magic in your life than intimate relationships. And of course, your relationships with your children, with the people that you work with, etc. Actual intimacy and honesty. Okay, intimacy doesn't just mean sex. In fact, they often don't have anything to do with each other. And there's no area of life that can create more pain and suffering than relationships. Okay. Now, for the record, I don't knock any gurus. I don't knock anybody's information. I went through Tony and Sage's what they call the ultimate relationship course, and it didn't even get anywhere near the actual roots. Was there beneficial stuff in there? Absolutely. It didn't get within a million miles of the actual roots of what causes relationship suffering. Not even close, let alone a solution. Okay. So why? Okay. Well, what is the pain of relationships? Loneliness, being a people pleaser, trying to attract somehow the perfect partner, this idea of putting your best foot forward, knowing it's just a matter of minutes or hours before they see the ugly, fucked up foot. You know what I mean? This idea of putting your best foot forward, trying to impress up front. The whole social media fake life only done through dating apps or whatever. This question, what do I have to cut off of myself or deny of myself in order to have a partner in the first place, because I'm so fucked up? And I don't recommend that you do this right now, but this idea of responsibility that I'm going to be going into, if you were to leave the masterclass right now and grab a pen and paper and just write down, what are some areas in life where I thought I was too fucked up to actually have the ultimate relationship, and I was pretty sure that I would have to kill, cut off, deny, or just give up on in order to make a relationship work? It would be one of the most valuable things you could ever do. Never feeling fully loved, fully accepted. And you think about this, the closer you get in a relationship to being fully loved and fully seen and fully accepted, the more it hurts, the more painful it is. We'll talk about why as we go. Frustrated desires, sexual shame and guilt, never asking for what you truly want and wondering what's wrong with your desires, which leads to either cheating to go try to get it elsewhere, or just staying in a relationship unfulfilled and resenting your partner for not giving what you never asked for. Yes, I've been watching you. Another suffering in relationships is chasing nightmares and catching them. Like this person who looks, oh my God, I am so attracted. I'm so irresistibly attracted. You ever look at the other things that you're quote attracted to? Is there any possibility? Well, Brian, I don't know why I keep attracting the same fucked up men over and over and over. You're not attracting them. They're perfectly mirroring what you believe you deserve, one after another after another. And it also leads to that loneliness where a lot of people just say, I'm just not going to even date. I just don't want anything. I'm fine with my knitting. I'll get another cat. Okay. What is the real cause of all this shit? What is the real cause? I mean, how could it be that something that's so near and dear to our nature, being able to lovingly, consciously get along with other people and be able to find and choose consciously, intentionally a partner that you could be ecstatically thrilled with in every way? Like, what's causing us to not be able to do that? What's really at the root of it? And it is ultimately parental shit and cultural shit. Okay. Ed talked about being slapped. He heard his parents having sex. Do you think, now Ed didn't say this, but do you think that Ed had seen up until that moment that his parents were the epitome of intimacy? Oh, of course mom and dad are making love in absolute orgasmic bliss. No, these fuckers that hate each other, yelling at each other, screaming at each other, fussing at each other about money and other shit, sounds like he's killing her. One experience like that, and you say, fuck it, I ain't having nothing to do with that. Whatever that sex thing is, count me out. Now, of course, then your desires come in as you're growing and maturing. So what do you do with that? A lot of people become rapists. A lot of people become priests and then become rapists or nuns. A lot of people find their desires that they tried to deny and kill coming sneaking up in other ways that end up creating even more pain and suffering. Okay. Now, this isn't the place for me to do a full dissertation on the 5 spells from hell. I do that elsewhere. However, in order for you to truly understand the mechanism that I'm going to show you, the solution to all relationship suffering. If you have a bit more of an understanding of the mechanism that's causing the suffering, it's going to help a lot. Okay, so bear with me as I blast through what I call the 5 spells from hell. So over the last, I was homeless. I've suffered immensely in my life. I've been in poverty. I've had relationship disasters. I've had my entire life be an endless series of train wrecks. And then I had an awakening experience in 2011 where this gift that I've always had for helping others switched on in full 14 and a half years ago, and I created Level 5 Mentoring, and we have been able to significantly help over 300,000 people. In fact, it's time for us to revisit the numbers because we're probably getting closer to 350,000, I would imagine, and we're just getting started. And the work that comes through me is different and more complete than any self-help solution. I put over $300,000 and tens of thousands of hours into my own inner work journey. And the work that I do today gets faster, deeper, and more lasting results than any and all of the work I've ever seen. Every day I have people coming to me and saying, after working on myself for years or decades, Brian, yours is the first thing that actually got me complete results and reliable results. There's my background in 1 minute there. And over these last 14 and a half years of working with hundreds of thousands of people, I have analyzed the spells, and a spell is a combination of things that you think and believe woven in with emotions that you haven't digested from your childhood. It's that simple. Trauma, when it's all said and done. It does go a lot deeper than most people think. And I have distilled the millions of spells that people are under down to these 5 core spells. And then there's a concrete seal around these 5 spells. So here they are in a nutshell. The first one is that it's not safe to be. And if you simply look back at every moment from the womb until now, any and all moments where you could have had the experience that it's not safe for you to exist, you could be harmed or killed. You either experience physical and or emotional pain or a risk of death, possible potential, almost drowned, abuse at the hands of a parent, maybe in the womb, an attempted suicide, or even or attempted abortion, or even the thought of an abortion. You have terror in your cells that until it's healed, it's going to reflect in every area of your life, especially relationships, okay? Everything mom believed about men and women, you picked it up in the womb, and you've been running with that shit your whole life, wondering what was wrong with you. So first spell, not safe to be. The second spell, not safe to be me. Any and every moment in your entire life, for example, your brother gets to go see their friends because they're 3 years older than you, and your parents say, no, you're not old enough to go. Why did they get it and I don't get it? Being in school and being laughed at for something, having an intense experience and being ridiculed for feeling emotion, not safe to be me. So you got not safe to be, not safe to be me. Third, not safe to be me desiring. And now we're getting into the shit here. Not safe to be me desiring. It looks like desire is bad. They're telling me that desire is wrong and bad. They're telling me that my desires are wrong or bad. They're shaming me for my desires. They're ridiculing. Mom, you find your pee-pee or your coochie when you're 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, and you're playing with it as you would when you find something that feels good, and your parent comes in and freaks the fuck out, especially if they punish you for it or ridicule you to the family. What that does at the depths of you at that age that affects you for the rest of your life until you go back and heal it. Okay? And there's no way around it. Don't take my word for it. There's no way around it. You either heal it or it affects you for the rest of your life. So not safe to be, not safe to be me, not safe to be me desiring. Next, not safe to be me asking or requesting or acting on what I desire. That's when they really get me. Like when I go ask for what I want, oh my God. Now, picture this. Imagine that you are in an intimate relationship, whether you are or not. Imagine you're in an intimate relationship. Now I want you to imagine going to your partner and saying, I've been really reflecting on what my deepest, wildest, most passionate sexual desire is. And I've really thought about it. I've really gotten completely clear on it. And not only that, but what's so hot about it, what's so kinky about it, why it turns me on so much, and how I'd like to experience it. I'd like to just tell you about it. You imagine going and speaking that bluntly and directly to your partner. The huge majority of people Like, are you out of your fucking mind? I couldn't say that to save my life. What are we talking about? The 5 spells from hell. Not safe to be, not safe to be me, not safe to be me desiring. And oh God, not safe to be me going and speaking my desires. Are you fucking kidding? For those of you who, let's just say you've already had enough. If you wanted to go off and get more out of this masterclass, 10, 50 times more than I've shared, just go off and pull out a pen and paper and write down, if I were to speak my truest, purest, most complete sexual desire to my partner, I'm afraid I would lose blank. I'm afraid then I'd have to blank. And I'm afraid then they would blank. And fill in those blanks and write until you're done. And you will get up. What the fuck just happened to me? I can't believe I was sleepwalking through all of that pain. All right. So, not safe to be, not safe to be me, not safe to be me desiring, not safe to be me expressing my desires. And the 5th spell from hell, not safe to be me getting my desires, because that's when they got you. That's when they control it. That's when you can lose it. That's when they can take it from you. That's when they can guilt trip you and say, after all I've done for you, okay? And how many of us are going into a relationship with either a tyrant complex, we have to be the dominator that wins, or a martyr complex, I'm the people pleaser that always has to cut off parts of myself to make it okay for everybody else. All of that comes from those 5 spells. And let me just do a quick check-in. I'm really flying through that content that I often do an hour or more to help people get it. If you'd open the chat, how did that land for you? And how is that landing as far as something that you can see? Oh my God, I totally see how that could be playing a significant role. If we could get the chat open. Spot on, truth, clear, 100% true. Yes, hell yes. Light bulb, completely makes sense. Wow, boom, right between the eyes. Answers to a lot of things, totally lands. Perfect, perfect. Beautiful. That's enough for me. I just want to make sure. So go ahead and close the chat, please. Thank you. Yes, 2 people asked me to repeat number 5. Okay, so number 1, not safe to be. Number 2, not safe to be me. Number 3, not safe to be me desiring. Number 4, not safe to be me asking, requesting what I desire. And 5th, not safe to be me getting what I desire, because that's when they hold it over your head. That's when they got you. That's when they know your secret. That's when they can guilt trip you. That's when they can take it and pull the plug or pull the rug out from under you. Okay. Now it gets 100 million times, quote, worse. And here's how that happens. As a child, when you expressed your anger or sadness or fear, the 3 emotions that come up from those 5 spells. When you learned you weren't safe, fear. When you learned you weren't safe being you, fear and sadness. When you learned that your desires weren't welcome, fear and sadness and anger. When you learned that asking or acting on your desires gets you punishment and pain, fear, sadness, and more anger. And when you learn that getting what you desire leads to inevitable fucking pain, when you realize and you accept that horrific nightmare that all of us have accepted, we just haven't been looking at it. The amount of anger and sadness and fear that begins to grip your life and run your life, okay? And here's where it gets 1,000,000 times, quote, worse. When you express the anger and sadness and fear, did your parents always just meet you with a soft, cuddly blanket of love? Oh, come here, my little sweet darling child. You feel sad. Let me comfort you. They said, no, I'll give you something to cry about, you little fucker. They said when you were scared, and they, instead of understanding and comforting you and supporting you to move through the fear, they made you do it, or they ridiculed you and you felt 1,000,000 times worse. And when you finally got frustrated enough to feel anger, and you brought that anger and they showed you that their anger was a whole hell of a lot bigger than yours, you better get the fuck back in line right now, you selfish little fucker. Okay? You landed in hell, and that's just how it is, and virtually everybody's there. Now, in these last few minutes since I started talking about the 5 spells from hell, I gave you literally now over 30 years of working on myself. Now 14 and a half years of helping hundreds of thousands of people. Hundreds of thousands I invested in, tens of thousands of hours. When I tell you that what I just shared with you in those minutes gives you the mechanism and the solution to every human problem, I urge you to take one moment, because I shortcutted it so much to give it to you in such a quick nugget there. Think for a minute and see if you can see an exception to a human problem. Is there a human issue or problem or pain that isn't answered by what I just said? How did we get to this place of pain? Those 5 spells from hell are it. Not safe to be, not safe to be me, not safe to be me desiring, not safe for me to be asking and moving on what I desire. And goddamn, let me not get it, because that's when they got me. Okay? Then as your desires are frustrated more and more and more and more, did your desires ever go away? I mean, I know they told you to kill those desires, but did your desires ever go away? Did they ever become any less? Oh, hell no. It's just that you're not safe expressing them. Now, with that background, you go into a relationship knowing it's not okay to be you got to be somebody else. Going into, people pleasing, going into a relationship knowing you can't ask for what you desire. You got to put your best foot forward and try to meet their needs so that you can keep them, which keeps you resenting them because you take out on them without exception everything that your parents did to you, especially the opposite sex parent. You can't not. But of course, you don't see that you're doing it because that would be crazy. And you can't be consciously crazy. You have to hide that shit from yourself. All right. Now, I'm going to go deeper into this right now. I just want to say, so what are the solutions that are available to us? What are the available solutions? Well, there's being celibate and single and living in a fucking cave. That would solve it. No, it wouldn't, because you're literally carrying all of those spells. What about relationship courses? I'm just saying, if any relationship course you ever took worked, you wouldn't be on this masterclass now, would you? I took every relationship course that I found, every single one of them, the biggest names out there in spiritual relationships, all of it. And every single one of them was missing the most fundamental information that could have made it work. I'm not saying nobody gets help by it. I'm not saying there's not valuable information. I'm saying to get to the actual root to create the ultimate relationship, I haven't seen it out there. I don't believe it's there. The other thing related to relationship courses, the other available solution is learning to love yourself. So self-love courses. Now, I want to tell you what's missing to me. What's missing in all relationship courses, and you're going to want to be sitting down for this, and you're going to want to be breathing, and you want to get curious now. What's missing in every relationship course that I've ever seen is the fundamental core concept that you are creating your reality. And you are therefore 100% responsible for everything you get in this life, including in relationship. Well, Brian, you're saying that I'm controlling. No, I'm not saying you're controlling a damn thing. I'm saying that the universe is perfectly mirroring whatever you believe. So how in the fuck are men not going to perfectly mirror? Well, I don't know why all I get is emotionally unavailable men. How emotionally available was your dad? You're still mirroring that. It's really, really, really simple. Now, I have a saying, and my saying is that 100% total personal responsibility equals 100% total personal freedom. 100% total personal responsibility equals 100% total personal freedom. Now, real quick, I appreciate whoever's got somebody on my team that's got their finger on the chat. Let's open the chat. I have a question for you. If you truly accept the possibility that you're creating your reality, type in CMR, creating my reality. Type it in. I want to be able to see this. If you 100% accept the possibility that you're 100% creating your reality. Now, everybody, you see the chat? You watching this? Okay, that's a lot of people saying that they 100% that they are creating their reality. Now that, y'all, that's a bold damn statement, because I'm gonna be testing you on that here in the next few minutes. Okay? Now, if you believe, second question, if you believe that there's this idea you can't love, or you can't, wait a minute, why the person we think we deserve could not be the one that fits the most? I understand the question, and I'm going to be answering that. That question is coming from a rather unusual angle. Okay, now, okay, we'll stop the chat, and we're going to start it again one more time in a moment. You've heard that no one can love you more than you love yourself, and you can't actually love anyone more than you love yourself. If you believe that it's true that no one can love you more than yourself, and you can't love anyone more than you love yourself, just type in true. So open the chat, true. If you believe that that's true, that no one can love you more than you love yourself, and you can't truly, fully love anyone more than you love yourself. Okay, everybody, you looking at this? Y'all letting this in? Okay. All right, we can close the chat. Thank you. That's enough. That's enough of a percentage for me. Now, the two available solutions for us in solving these relationship issues, number one, relationship courses. And I'm telling you that so far, each and every relationship course that I have ever seen, without exception, is missing the most fundamental core root information that would let it work to get to the actual root of the issue. I have also taken dozens of courses on self-love, and I have found out what's missing in each and every one of them that I have seen. Is it possible there's a self-love course out there that has this secret in it? Yes, I would love to find it. I did create one, but anyway. And that is, the secret is, you know that you don't deserve love. You know that you don't deserve love, and you know that you will never be 100% loved. And you learn that from the 5 spells from hell. And then when you try to express your emotions, and they showed you that they needed peace of you not expressing your emotions, they couldn't accept your emotions, then they can't love you. Now, I got another question for you. Is there any possibility that when you learned what happens when you desire in your family home, and you learn what happens when you ask for your desires, and you learn what happens when you get your desires met on those rare occasions, and then you learn what happens when you express those intense emotions, is there any possibility that every single relationship you've ever been in since then reflected what you learned? Since you're saying you accept the possibility you're creating your reality. So the key to relationship success is to accept 100% personal responsibility for what is reflecting, and stop blaming them or yourself for anything. And I'm going to show you a really counterintuitive, miraculously powerful, foolproof way of doing that in just a bit. The answer to self-love is to take that little s off the front of it and put the capital S, and admit you are creating your reality. You are the self, and you are creating your reality. And anything you ever learn about why you can't and shouldn't love yourself and why you don't deserve love completely disappears. That's the secret to self-love. Now, there's a super critical, hey, Lai, stop, buddy. Thank you. There's a super critical key that I would be very remiss to leave this out. It is a rather, you could say, an awkward truth. All right. There were 2 teachers that I have studied in great depth after my awakening experience, and I have found huge value in both of their work. And one of them is Greg Bear. Dr. Greg Bear, who wrote the Real Love series. It's just about unconditional love, very simple. It's all about unconditional love. And then there is a Kundalini yoga teacher, master named Shunya Murti. And as I was studying their work over the course of several years, I was super shocked by something that they both said. Now, are you tuned in? Let's open the chat. Are you tuned in? Are you 100% here? Are you 100% present? You're not waiting for me to get to the good shit and you're not halfway checked out. Like, you are in and you are tuned in, yes? Because I'm about to get in some truth bombs with you. Any moment of what I'm about to say could be the thing that does it for you. Okay. Perfect. All right. Thank you. We can close the chat. I just want to make sure. Both of these absolute masters, and I don't accept much information from any so-called teacher or gurus anymore. These two people have really proven their integrity to me in many dimensions, especially on this topic of love and relationships. And they both say, in short, that there are core wounds, 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 injuries. There are core soul level wounds and injuries of the heart, of the soul, of the interface of the person with their infinite self that can only be healed through an intimate relationship. And man, see, when I hear an absolute like that, I look real closely. I get real curious. And I am not advocating, and I'm not saying that I'm 100% positive beyond a shadow of a doubt that they're right about that. However, I do see how it could be true. And I can tell you that some of the deepest wounds and pains in my heart, in my soul, in my life, that nothing touched after decades and decades of working on myself, it's being healed in my relationship with Valentina, and she says the same thing to me. The places that we can't see in ourselves, the blind spots, that it appears to me that it requires another person who can love you as much as you can love yourself, and who understands the value of complete, unlimited, unconditional love. And technically, if it ain't unconditional, it ain't love. But this concept that the deepest core wounds can only be healed through an intimate relationship, I consider that an extremely high probability. While I accept the possibility that we are creating our reality, we can do anything. We might have created the reality in which it takes another person showing us that those aspects of ourselves that our parents showed us can't be loved. And so I'm going to go to the root of this for a minute with you now. Those 5 spells from hell, I talk about them a lot. And then the fact that when we're getting frustrated and our desires are being frustrated and our parents show us they can't accept our emotions, how could that not echo and ripple in every relationship you have, especially when you get close to somebody? Aren't all of those emotions gonna come up? Don't they have to come up? And they appear to be things in between us and the other. And we've developed all these techniques to prevent ourselves from feeling those feelings, let alone expressing them. And now everybody's waiting for the other one to fix us, to make it better for us. And we don't even express what's necessary for it to happen. Now, this leads to the second really ultra profound concept that I want to share with you. And it has to do with the concept of attraction, which I want to tell you, I have some information. We just don't have time for me to go into the full depth of it here. I did a spell break at a live event here at our place just a couple weeks ago on attraction that has had 100% universal. Everyone that has seen it has had the statement to me in one form or another that is literally one of the most profound, liberating, expansive, life-changing, forget about relationship, just in life, and that it touches the roots of delusion in relationship and dispels more than just about anything else. And if you want that information, we'll talk about that in a bit as well. But why do we go into relationships? And what is this attraction thing really about? And are you really willing to consider the possibility that you're actually creating your relationship, your universe, and therefore you're creating your relationships, and that every man and every woman is quite literally reflecting to you only what you believe about yourself. And when you shift to the truth in yourself, everyone around you immediately begins reflecting the truth of you to you. Okay? So now, picture this. Here's a little boy, here's a little girl who was raised by two psycho motherfuckers called mom and dad. Absolutely tortured souls, couldn't love themselves, couldn't love each other, couldn't admit their sexual desires. One of them's fucking around on the other, hating each other, resisting each other, fighting about money, arguing about shit that doesn't matter, making things to fight about so that they can play out the scripts that they learn with their parents. Now that's who we're raised by, and that's who we learn the rules of intimate relationship from, is mom and dad, for fuck's sake. Okay? Now, that child grows up. I'm gonna do one more question. Let's open the chat. Now listen, before you answer, I want to ask the entire question, and I'm challenging you to play 100% full out here. Let me ask the full question before you type in an answer. Do you sense that it is either true or might be, either one? Do you sense that it is either true or might be true that everyone here is carrying the 5 spells from hell? Not safe to be, not safe to be me, not safe to be me wanting, not safe to be me acting on it, and not safe to be getting it. And that we learned that it's not safe to express our emotions or be around people expressing them. Would you agree that everyone here went into a relationship having learned that? Yes or no? Look at this chat. Okay, beautiful. That's enough for me. All right, so close the chat. Now, I avoided relationships because I learned that. You ain't the only one. Now, listen to this. How many people are in most intimate relationships? Is it just one? Or is it 2? In most intimate relationships. So you have 2 people that are both full of the 5 spells from hell. They know not to express their desires. They know that if they express their desires, they're going to get in trouble. They can't even be themselves. They got to put their best foot forward, and hopefully that person doesn't see the fucked up, ugly foot that's following it. Not safe in the first place, not feeling safe existing, and now you're in a relationship with someone where you can't dare to show your authentic feelings, and you both prove to each other that you're 100% right all the time. Everybody is the absolute flawless, perfect mirror of what you believe about yourself, and no one more than your intimate partner, who was literally, quote, attracted to you because you share the same fucking spells. Okay? So here's deep, 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 deep shit that I dare and encourage you to contemplate and really look at this now. We're changing the fucking world here with this information. This is not superficial how to get laid, okay? I will promise you this. You get this information, you will be getting laid a lot more and enjoying it a lot more, but that ain't the purpose of this. Anything that you learn on how to get laid is going to multiply your suffering later because you're doing it around all your spells and pain, okay? So here's what happens when people go into a relationship. They're wandering around half asleep under the 5 spells from hell, holding their breath so that they don't dare to express their fucking emotions. Almost everyone's walking through life deep asleep. When you're holding your breath back to the threshold to keep yourself from fully expressing your emotions, and you're denying your desires, and you're trying to get your desires fulfilled, but you have to manipulate to get them. You have to find someone you can manipulate. So the tyrant needs a martyr, and the martyr needs a tyrant, and the empath needs a fucking narcissist, and the narcissist. But none of those are true. It's just how we mirror each other. Okay? You go into a relationship desperately trying to get the emotional needs met from your childhood that didn't get met in your childhood, while knowing it's not safe for you to do so. And then you meet this person and you look at them and you go, they would make me feel better. Let me stick my claws in this motherfucker before I find out what kind of a psycho they are. And everybody is putting their claws into the other person to hold on to them without even knowing if it's who they want to be with yet or not. So picture this. You're wandering around with these unmet emotional needs. And by the way, now you've matured a bit, so your sexual desire's up. So you think you're looking for something to fuck. Let's just be honest. Sometimes people, and I personally believe that 99.9% of the men walking around looking for somewhere to stick their dick, they're actually looking for a place to stick their umbilical cord back in. And they have no clue, because that wouldn't be cool. And 99.9% of women walking around looking for some dick is actually just wanting a hug from dad. But we already know it's not safe to ask for what we want. So how many people, let me open the chat for something very risky here. Who has ever fucked somebody that you didn't want to? And you look back like, what the fuck was I doing? Why'd I do that? I'm keeping my arm up to encourage honesty on this one. All right, we can close the chat. Y'all are proving my point. I'm just saying you're proving my point. Not that I'm trying to prove anything. You didn't have to say that many times. Just kidding. Okay. So we go into relationship to try to get the emotional needs met that we know we can never get met. We go into relationship to avoid the feelings that we haven't dealt with. This person makes me feel good for 3 minutes every time we fuck. I think I will choose them forever. Doesn't matter that we don't have anything in common. Now, this is where I'm daring you. I'm really challenging you to go do deep, really, really look at what I'm talking about here now. You go into the relationship to avoid the feelings that you haven't handled. And this person gives me a temporary relief from it. You also go into it to try to get the feelings that you think are coming from them, which makes you think you need them, but you can't let them know, because once you let them know, you've read all the relationships book. Once you let a man know that you're really into him, that's when he's got you, honey. Don't you do that, girlfriend. Well, then don't you figure your partner did exactly the same thing? They went into that relationship with you to get what they thought you had for them and to avoid your relationships. Now, I got another crazy question for you. And when you think about this, your brain might break and then you're going to liberate some energy. Get ready to answer this, but not yet. I think I'll do this as 2 questions. Who here has ever experienced the utter pain and heartbreak of a relationship ending? Utter, just soul crushing, fucking kill me, and you're hiding in the bedroom crying for 3 days, eating ice cream, and I lost the love of my life. Blah, blah, blah. You hated that motherfucker for 6 months before it finally ended, okay? Heartbreak of relationship ending, months of crying, exactly. Now, is it possible there's no such thing as heartbreak? Wait, is it possible that the soul-crushing sadness when a relationship ends has nothing to do with the relationship? It's the sadness that you went into the relationship to avoid. Open the chat. Don't answer it unless you get it. Is it possible that the soul-crushing, soul-ripping sadness and loss of heartbreak, the love of my life that I hated for 6 months and the sex wasn't that good, is gone forever. I'll never find another. Is it possible that all of that sadness didn't get caused by the breakup? It's the fucking sadness that you went into the relationship to try to avoid.
Yes.
Oh shit. Okay, we can close the chat. So now we slow down. Let's look at this now. So is it possible that attraction, look at that ass over there. You think you're looking at that ass, you're looking at the person that's going to rip your fucking soul apart so you can finally feel these emotions and heal them. But because you go into it avoiding, you don't let yourself do it. Oh, his steel blue eyes are just irresistible. He's so fucking hot to me. Nope, you're looking right past all that physicality and you're seeing the person who's going to mirror all of your emotions flawlessly. Now let's just look at attraction for another minute here. Okay. When you're trying to attract someone, could you possibly be 100% your authentic self and trying to attract someone? In my conversation with a couple brothers of mine that have let me know over the last year or so, they really want to rise into being a powerful truth teller. They want to be a force of benefit for the women around themselves and the brothers around them, creating the world they want. And I say, listen, you can either be a peacemaker or you can be a truth teller, but you can't be both. Similarly, you can either be a people pleaser or you can be a pleasure experiencer, but not both. If you're trying to attract, you're trying to be that which you think would attract, which means you're being a fraud from the first fucking minute. I'll bet that'll create an authentic relationship that'll last forever. Start it with deception. No, really, I'm this way. Trust me. I am that which I think you would prefer. And then we put our hooks into each other. Anybody, we won't open the chat, but anybody ever heard or thought the phrase, you are not the person that I married? Okay. So let's take this kind of towards the roots here. This particular masterclass, I do relationship courses, and this specific class is about your perfect man. It's about a woman finding her perfect man. And if you're a gay man and you're choosing to walk in the feminine, you could call it your perfect masculine. Have a good time. I don't care. It's none of my business. All right. Finding the perfect masculine. And if you're a man who's applying this, the number of ways that this can benefit you and the number of men who've looked into this information, how the fuck did I get so lucky to find this information so I can understand women? Ladies, would you accept the possibility, before I say it? So Valentina's sitting right here. As I look at you here, I'm looking at her there. And I'll just look at her as I say this. And if I wasn't telling the truth, she would come over and break my computer because, that's how she is, or smack me. The reason that this goddess chooses me out of all possible men on this planet is largely, the way I treat her, and the fact that my mission in life, one of my main core missions and purposes in life, is to be the greatest benefit to the feminine that I can possibly be. To be the greatest service to the feminine, the greatest benefit, the greatest support, greatest care that I can possibly be to the feminine, period. And she chooses complete authenticity, and therefore she's willing to allow herself to have a man who chooses what I choose. So ladies, we'll open the chat one more time. Do you accept the possibility that there could be one or more men on this planet that don't play any of the games that you've played, and they are literally here to be a loving, caring, compassionate, nurturing father, brother, etc. to the feminine? Do you believe that could exist? Now, I see a couple things about needle in the haystack. No, that's fucking bullshit. You're not admitting that you're creating your reality. Now, is it possible that if you're not experiencing that, it's because the men in your life are mirroring what you believe about yourself, what you deserve, and men? Is it possible you're infinitely responsible and powerfully able to affect the men around you to bring those qualities out of the men around you? Therefore, if you don't have that in your life, who's creating what you're getting? And if there was a really simple, foolproof way of switching the knob in yourself from undeserving to deserving, and then just breaking the fucking knob off and admitting it's not about deserving or undeserving. I'm looking for more masculinity in a man, so I guess I attract a more masculine man. No, there's no such thing as attraction. It doesn't exist. You aren't embodying the feminine that would allow that masculine to mirror in front of you. So my last concept, give me the knob. Now that's the funniest comment I've ever gotten from a woman on a session. Give me the knob. Okay, everybody, let's close the chat, please. All right, final point, and I'm gonna, that was pretty good, okay. I want you to picture this. Now, ladies, we're talking to you for the moment. If you're creating your reality, and you are, then who's creating every experience with a man that you've ever had? But Brian, I'm not controlling their behavior. I'm not talking about controlling their behavior. I'm talking about the man that shows up is the perfect, flawless mirror of every single detail that you believe about yourself and what you deserve. Every man showing up in front of you, especially your intimate partner, is reflecting to you. They have no power, they have no choice, but to reflect to you what you believe. If you're the woman who every man you get promises you the world, then uses you for sex, and then leaves, that's literally exactly what you believe about yourself. If you're the one who can never have 100% of your man's just completely undivided attention, you're still sitting on the floor trying to get dad's attention while he's looking at the newspaper, and you don't even know it. It's the emotions that you haven't digested in yourself, and it's the aspects and attributes that you haven't awakened to in yourself while you're trying to be what you think you gotta be to be okay, attracting some kind of shit that you haven't even thought through that it isn't what you fucking want. So the secret, the answer, the key to having the perfect, ultimate, intimate relationship that you desire would start with you having absolute, unmistakable, complete, perfect clarity on what it is that you desire in the first place. What? How are you going to be sorting through the millions of men out there to find the perfect one when you haven't defined the perfect attributes in a perfect man? And why would you do that when you already know how fucked up you are and that all you can do is hope to capture somebody who's a decent catch? So you got to have absolute certainty on what it is that you desire. And could you be honest right now that you don't? Don't you have some conflicting desires? Well, this, but that, and then if I have that, then I'm that. Next, you got to have absolute certainty beyond the shadow of a doubt that you are beyond deserving or undeserving of anything with the masculine. You have to have an absolutely unshakable commitment to being authentic about your own desires and being completely open to his. Does that mean you got to do what you don't want to do? Absolutely not. That's what you've been doing. It's when you have an unshakable commitment to your own desires, knowing what they are and expressing them authentically, that's when you can actually be open to his and not fear that you're giving up part of yourself. You got to have 100% confidence. Now, here's the key. I started with this imagining, and I want you to imagine this right now. Imagine that you had 100% confidence beyond the shadow of a doubt that you are living, embodying, living and breathing everything that your ultimate perfect partner could ever desire. Do you really think you're going to fool I mean, I know you can flash your titties and all, or maybe just put a little bit brighter red on here or whatever. I know you could do that. I know you could, wear butt accentuating jeans and try to catch a few more eyes. That ain't what I'm asking you. Can you, will you allow yourself to experience the ultimate man that you would worship and adore and cherish, who would treat you like his queen and his slut and his angel and his baby girl and his goddess, before you know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you are everything such a man could desire? And let's be honest, you don't believe you are that. You don't even believe you could be that, or you would have him right now. Every man around you is showing you what you believe you deserve and can have. So I created a tool that is quite literally the single most powerful relationship tool. It is why Ed Dale and Anne Marie Butler have the absolute God goddess level relationship they have. It's exactly why Valentina and I have listen, I am the happiest man I know. I was the most miserable motherfucker you will ever meet in your life. Homeless, suicidal, lost. All my relationships were disastrous train wrecks with my kids and everybody else in my life. And today I'm the happiest guy I know, and I have the most blissful, ecstatic, amazing, intimate relationship beyond my wildest fucking dreams. Ed and Anne Marie can say the same. If you're not able to say that right now, you could be. So here's the thing. I put together a tool that by itself, in a few minutes a day, will do every single thing that I said. It is the definition of elegance. It's the definition of magic. It is mind-blowingly powerful. And I released it a few years ago to a small number of people. And I still have people reporting their miraculous outcomes to me. We've never fully released it. I've had more than one person tell me that this tool by itself is infinitely beyond any and every relationship course ever made. However, Anne Marie and Ed went through some of my relationship courses and brought some information to me that has led us to create something here that is just, it's beyond, 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 beyond.
When I came into Brian's world and the world of level 5, to me, it was extraordinary seeing people process trauma and having lifelong trauma just dissolved in minutes. But for me, why I was here, the thing that I wanted to figure out was how could I possibly have, I was lonely. Like I was 53 and inverted commas successful in one aspect, but in relationships, it was just dreadful. And seeing Brian and seeing how he conducted relationships and how his opinions on relationships. And I went through his relationship course and his perfect partner process, and it worked. It absolutely worked. And and you'll understand what that is as we go through this webinar today. And I am in a relationship with a magnificent woman who I couldn't have designed. Well, I did design it, right? Because, and I'll refer to this later, but this is my notebook. And I don't know if you can see there, PPP. That, see how it's highlighted on my notebook. It's the perfect partner process, something we'll be referring to today. And in that perfect partner process, I literally wrote out what my perfect partner process would be. And I know probably the majority of people on today here are women, and whether you're heterosexual, bisexual, any sexual, same things apply, right? And if you're a bloke on here, you're also, let me tell you, in the right place. And the like, I didn't understand how you could have a partnership that gave you energy, that had such, sex and intimacy that was extraordinary. Um, uh, phenomenal. Like my life has changed completely. And I was 53. And what is amazing to me is that as you experience these, the opportunity of design, it sounds weird. I know this sounds weird. I get it. I really do. I really do. Like designing your perfect partner, your perfect man. I get it. I get it. And what you're going to see today and learn today is extraordinary. And the difference in your life, a partner, and having somebody who's got your back and loves you at every time, and wants and desires intimacy, and you want them in desire intimacy, and you are not afraid to speak your desires, and you can have honest conversations and not compromise. It's extraordinary.